Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And welcome to our conference on grassroots communication in the 21st century. I'm Tausch, the founder of Steward of Prosperity, an organization of New Hampshire citizens who believe in the power of free people and free markets to create better lives for our families and a future for our country even greater than its past. I want to thank all of you for coming today and for your dedication to making our voices heard and our values understood. We can learn a lot today from our speakers about how to communicate effectively in this new world of social media. Liberals may have been the first to grasp the opportunities this presents for political messaging and organism, but we have an advantage that they'll never have. We actually believe in the right things. We believe that the more freedom people have, the more they will accomplish and the greater our society will become. They believe the more power government has to make our choices for us, the happier everybody will be. This debate may never end, but we know that the verdict came in long ago. We're right, and the liberals are wrong. No matter how effective they were in communicating their message in 2008, they still have to conceal their true beliefs in order to win elections. They will never convince a majority of Americans that government will make wiser decisions with their money than they will. They'll never convince them the government will make better decisions for their families than they will. And they can't convince us to give up more of our wealth and responsibilities to a government that can't balance a budget or finish a project on time or even deliver bottled water to the victims of a hurricane. To succeed, we have to become better at communicating our message. They have to become better at hiding theirs. Our task is easier because our message is open faith in the people. Theirs is a disguise. In just a year, with majorities in both houses of Congress and control of the White House, they have exposed as meaningless all of their campaign promises. Political moderation, fiscal discipline, economic growth, and government transparency. Rather than provide the required incentives to American families and businesses to create the conditions for sustainable long-term economic growth and job creation, they squandered another $1 trillion of our children's money on a short-term stimulus, much of it wasted on projects that have done little to help the communities they were supposed to benefit. They spent hundreds of billions of dollars bailing Wall Street executives out from the consequences of their own mistakes. They used our money to get us into the automobile business and the insurance business and the home mortgage business, when they can't even keep the government's existing accounts in order. And now that the temporary positive effects of all of this reckless spending are predictably disappearing, what do we have? 10% unemployment, the possibility of a double-dip recession, and the very real prospect, if we don't act quickly and decisively to reduce our nation's deficit, of catastrophic inflation that will destroy the dreams and the savings of millions of American families. The liberals want to tell us what kind of health insurance we should be allowed to buy, to punish us if we make a different choice. They tell us, straight-faced, that we can cover health care for 30 million Americans and that somehow, magically, it's going to reduce the cost of health care in America. To get this plan through Congress, they negotiated countless deals behind closed doors, in secret, with labor unions and with drug companies and with insurance companies, but they refused to address the well-founded concerns of the American people, who have told them in poll after poll, and in town meeting after town meeting, and now in this historic election of Scott Brown in Massachusetts, that they don't want it. When they finish making a complete complete mess of healthcare. They tell us that they'll begin to reduce this $1 trillion annual deficit that they've been running, and the national debt that they have now doubled, believe it or not. But they're not going to do it by cutting their spending. They're not going to reduce the size of government. They're going to keep making it bigger and keep using more and more of our money to pay for it, to do things that we don't want them to do, or that we can do better and cheaper ourselves. Fortunately, there's another election coming in November of 2010. And this time, Americans are not going to be taken in again by their false promises. Real change is coming. Good news for all of us, and it is terrible news for any politician who believes that Americans who balance their own budgets and take care of their own families and build businesses and solve problems and make things and create new technologies and fight America's wars and build America's wealth can't be trusted with our own money to make our own decisions. Freedom is the most powerful message in the world. It speaks to the most fundamental aspirations of human nature, and it's our message. Trust freedom. Trust free people. Government must do only those things that we cannot do for ourselves, and leave the rest to us. Because we can be trusted to think and do for ourselves, to seize and create opportunities, to plan and work and build a better future for our families and a better future for our country. We have the better message, and we should be better at using these new technologies that were created to liberate, created to empower people, to open new fields of human initiative, and to expand the borders of freedom. The people of Iran today are rising up and opposing years of oppression. They are confronting a regime that hunts them down, that murders them, that rules through cruelty and terror. And they've tried to hide their actions. They've tried to hide their brutality from the eyes of the world, desperately. But they're failing. And they're failing to hide their brutality because brave Iranians risk their lives for their freedom, and because they use these new technologies to text and blog and YouTube and tweet their way into the world's conscience, to claim their rights to self-determination, and to inspire all of us with their actions. These new tools of communication are powerful, powerful new weapons in freedom's arsenal, and we can use them to great effect now to get our country moving again, in the right direction this time, and to communicate the message that they were designed to advance. Trust free people. Don't lie to them, or trick them, or take advantage of them. Don't prevent them from prospering from their own hard work and initiative and industry. Don't squander their children's future. Trust them. We are trustworthy, and we deserve a government that respects us. I want to sincerely thank all of you for coming today, for your faith in our cause and your dedication to its success. Now, it is my privilege to introduce our first speaker. He has a well-deserved reputation for thinking creatively about political messaging and organizing, and for using new technologies to solve our nation's problems and to promote freedom. He is a man of ideas and principles. It is an honor to introduce the Honorable Newt Gingrich.